We're going to start in Sphinx today. Starting in Egypt. We'll see where we go. So it's the simplest pose, I feel. It's a pose we do even before we know what yoga is. So find a couple, little adjustments that you need to make this morning. And perhaps you want to start with a little roll of your neck. And then you can return your head to center. And find the stillness of our yin practice. So first we find the right shape for our body, and then we still ourselves, and then we stay. And we can imagine this time is not wasted time or idle time, but when we have the discipline to stay, especially in stillness, we often discover it's not an empty and wasted time at all. So notice if you can remember any of your dreams. See how your thinking has been so far this morning. You might know, are you typically someone to wake up quickly and think fast in the morning, or does it take you a little bit of time? Notice how you feel, your attitude, your mood. In the stillness of your position, notice if you can feel the energy in your body. Notice sensations in your body. With your next inhale, either extend your arms and lift your chest, or just lift your chest, but really muscle into this back bending element of our pose. And then with your exhale, lower down to the ground and push yourself back into child's pose. And once you find yourself in child's pose, bring your hands to prayer and bend your elbows and bring your thumbs to the back of your neck, keeping your hands in prayer. And just take a moment and dedicate the fruits of your practice to someone or some effort or some element in the world. Relaxing your hands down, take a couple more breaths in child's pose. Maybe deciding how you want to influence your attitude or your feelings this morning, or what sensations that you hope will move in your body. And then release your hands. And we're going to roll up, cross your ankles, roll over your crossed ankles, and come into half butterfly, half dragonfly, depends what you prefer, half and half, lopsided wings, the yin version of Janu Sarasana. So you can have your right leg stretched out, your left heel and your groin, and about 90 degrees between your thighs, just like we do in the yang versions of this pose. And then you want to see if you're sitting behind yourself, like sit on some books or a blanket, and then twist a couple times, aiming your belly button over your extended leg, and then bow over your extended leg. Softening down, letting your... I do also like to drape my left hand to the outside of my right leg, and this helps me remind me that there's actually a twist element to this pose, but find the softness. So coming into the pose without force, without, combative force. So maybe even just relaxing your jaw and your tongue, let your belly be a little soft. We still can engage our bandhas in our yin practice, but again, it's the softness that's emphasized, which you will later discover is also true when we're practicing bandhas throughout our practice. But just this attention, this light attention, brings energy to the bandhas and helps engage and direct the flow of the energy in your body. See if you can have your toes relaxed and soft, your elbows heavy, your head hanging. So this practice of dedicating your class to someone or some effort is one of the many times during our day that we actively cultivate something inside of us, knowing that even if we don't understand the technology, what is alive inside of us, what we do actively inside of ourselves, has an effect on the rest of the world. Praying, meditation, dedications. These are more actively part of a spiritual practice. But it is taking advantage of a technology that's already innate in our being, that we were born with, that somehow in this world, how the world passes through us, how the world appears to us, is affected by what we carry inside. With your inhale, roll up. Place your right hand up in the sky and place your left hand behind you. And then stretch the whole right side of your body. You might need a morning moan with it. Oh. And then bring your hips back down and switch your legs. Find a little twist, helping your spine wake up into rotational forces of this day. And then bow over your left leg, softening and meeting your natural resistance, not with a hammer, but with a cuddle. Feel your jaw relaxed, your tongue fat. So, in our human experience, we notice that in some parts of our lives, it feels like, things are happening to us. In other parts of our lives, we feel that we have authorship in what is happening. There seems to be a very popular kind of movement towards kind of a perspective of victimization, that our life is happening to us whether we like it or not, um, that we can't change what comes to meet us, or that all the hardships are punishment for some error in our being. And while, on some more obvious places we can practice not being a victim, we've really normalized it in too many places in our kind of cultural rhetoric. And part of why that has gained such traction is this misunderstanding and imagining that what goes on inside of the privacy of our inner life doesn't matter, when it's quite the opposite. And we already receive this lesson as children on a daily basis, all the way till now, where, we wake up, and some mornings we wake up and we inexplicably have, a joy or a positive energy in our whole being. And then other days, it's like we have our personal rain cloud hanging over our head. With your inhale, roll up. Place your right hand behind you, stretch through the left side of your body. Maybe some more morning moans. Oh, and then bring your hips back down and bring the bottoms of your feet together. You might want to slide your right heel a little further out. And we're going to roll forward into butterfly, letting your head hang. But have you had those mornings where you woke up and you felt like you had your personal, rainy day or snow cloud hanging over you, and you sit and meditate, or you pray, or you decide? I know that sounds so simple, But there are some days where even just deciding to have a better mood or a better attitude can change it. We even start to learn to know ourselves in such a way that we're not just kind of knowing ourselves to be stuck in ourselves, but knowing ourselves to start to understand what acts as medicine for me. How do I shift my mood? What, and we get this with our yoga practice a little bit, don't we? Where especially, if I'm in a crappy mood and I get onto the yoga mat and I actually, push my body, I make myself sweat, I make myself do that whole practice that I didn't want to do in the first place. Somehow that effort and that push can really ignite some fiery positive attitude change. Or in other days, a stillness of a yin practice can allow sadness to drop away and come back into the sacredness of being alive and being in this human body and this human personality. So many of our most favorite aspects of ourselves are, the other side of the coin of the least favorite aspects of ourselves. We don't have the pleasure of just picking positive traits to enliven. Just like if we have a capacity, if we work on our capacity for sensitivity to feel, we're not just going to feel the good things. We're also going to feel the hard things, the challenges, the sadness. But our increased capacity to feel naturally increases our capacity to connect to other humans. And we notice that, knowing ourselves and knowing our biases and dispositions can help us choose more of a middle path than always going to that worn track. But we discover part of this, like our personality opens doors for us and keeps us out of things. So, on one hand, it's a gift, and one hand, it's a handicap. This superficial or this kind of this temperament that colors our everything isn't something to negate and try to push down, but actually supplement and kind of get over or evolve up out of or beyond. So, I'm so good at being bitchy. And sure, I could cultivate that and really like take it up in my personality, be part of that person. Or I can recognize it and supplement it and try to understand, how does that bitchiness, how can it be insightful? With your inhale, roll up and come back onto your elbows, transforming your butterfly into a fish. The less known evolutionary path. So if it's okay for your neck, hang your head back. If your neck is feeling sensitive this morning, you can just keep your chin towards your chest. I had the pleasure of introducing a friend of mine to yoga who was an adept martial artist. And I remember having this conversation with him where he goes, "Oh, this is so amazing. All of the locks that I learned as a fighter, I just because I understood how to do the locks, now I do the opposite and it becomes a yoga assist. So that same knowledge of studying how to dominate other human beings' bodies actually made it an ease for him to learn how to be uplifting or helping all of these other human bodies. And the more we can know ourselves, the more opportunity we have to actually choose. Am I going to react like I always react, or am I going to try and see if there's something else possible? And when we start to notice when we effort and will in our own being, this habit of victimization starts to evaporate. Let your arms slide out to the side and bring your hands into the diamond mudra. So you're putting your thumbs and your index fingers together, stretching out your three other fingers, and then placing your thumbs right where your head and the ground meet without having to lift your head. When we study how the body works with kind of from the perspective of spiritual science, we start to notice that the world just isn't affecting us, but actually that we do affect the world. You know, we're so hyper aware of how we get sense impressions, and we can completely be seduced to just stay there. You know, this is the hedonism. Oh, I want to smell good smells. I want to taste yummy foods. I want to hear sweet music. I want to feel, you know, light breezes. Nothing like a good zephyr, a warm summer breeze. But when we get fixated on what is coming towards us, what is happening to us, what we're experiencing, can you see how that's also part of, you know, this victim place? But then I start to imagine, what could it be that I am doing in my body below my awareness that is affecting the world? How does this mystery of how our organs work in us allow something intimate to be impressed out into the world? Or is the technology even more advanced that actually, you know, these inner organs that work without our being awake to how they work, that somehow they are connected to the planets and these big archetypal forces? of the cosmos. And that actually my job as a human isn't just receiving all these sense impressions of the world around me, but somehow allowing this cosmic element of my organs to affect the world from me. And this isn't the kind of imagination that you go yes or no. It's one of these questions like Rilke lifts up, like we want to live into the answer. The answer won't just be delivered to us like this. And then hug your knees up to your chest. First, rock your hips side to side, massaging your sacrum. And then start to rock your body back and forth, rolling, rocking all the way up into toes pose. So we come into Sesa, your toes tucked under. And while the fire starts at our base here with our toes, let's join the warming effect by sounding our 3 ohms. With your eyes closed, empty your breath first. And let's take a big inhale together. Ah. Ah. And then release your hands down and slap out your toesies, your feetsies. Roll back onto your heels, stretching your ankles. And then separate your knees, slide forward into child's pose, and start to walk your hands to your right. So you feel that you start to stretch the left side of your side body, the left side body out. Take a couple of breaths, maybe re-inviting your Ujjayi breath. So you clench your throat a little bit. Clench, that sounds so tight and contracted. But you're gonna make a stage whisper. Maybe you can notice if you can engage your root lock here by lightly lifting the perineum. You can feel this, especially the end of your exhale. Engaging your Uddiyana Bandha, that light attention pulling your hara point towards your spine. And then start to walk your hands back to center and all the way over to your left-hand side here. So we already invited fire into our toes. And so this is like a yin-ishi yang movement. As you build your Ujjayi breath, it's a little bit noisy, especially at first, but you want to feel that the contraction in your throat actually allows your breath to expand into your lungs more. Even imagine your breath coming in, filling up the back of your lungs. And then walk your hands back to center. Stretch your fingers forward so much so that you feel your hips push down to your heels, and then tuck your toes under and wiggle and dance your way into your downward facing dog. So bend one knee at a time. You can even bend your elbows one at a time, or maybe you can add a barrel roll into your rib cage. Take off a layer. Noticing your Ujjayi breath is going to start to heat you already, even before we start the more dynamic movement of a vinyasa. Take another full inhale. Empty your breath all the way, and then walk your feet up to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. And then with your exhale, place your left hand in the middle. You might have to have both your knees bent, or maybe just your left knee, and then stretch your right arm up to the sky. So your left knee's bent. Should feel nice. And then bring your right hand down, bend your right knee, stretch and twist. And then with your exhale, bring your left hand down. Inhale, halfway lift again. And from your halfway lift, fly your arms up, interlace your fingers, reach your chest forward, and then bow down one more time, bringing your arms up over your head. Just really kind of not forcing anything, but taking these different movements to start to warm us up. Now here, lift up your toes, spread your toes out, and just relax your fan toes down to the ground. Take another full inhale. With your exhale, release your arms, and with your next inhale, start to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Stretch your arms up to the sky, reach up tall, and exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And then step back to plank, and this time lower slowly all the way down to the ground. Feel the power from starting from your toes, and inhale, low cobra. Or other low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Obedience is for dogs. I mean, how does this work? Yeah. Take a full breath in, and with your exhale, just sigh out your breath. Maybe a little noise, maybe a little laughter. In your downward facing dog, if you're tight in your hamstrings, you can invite a bend into your knees. And then I often after I bend my knees, I have to make sure I'm not blowing out my ribs and my belly. So I have to pull in my lower belly, my lower abdominal especially. My ribs kind of follow suit. Take another fueling inhale. Empty your breath all the way and quietly hop your feet in between your hands. Inhale, fly your halfway lift. Reach through your fingertips, broadening your wrists. Exhale, hug your knees in your forward bend, letting your head drop, coming towards your shins. And then root down and roll up with your inhale, stretching all the way up to the sky. And exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And then step back to plank, and this time lower halfway down, chaturanga. Elbows squeeze to your ribs. Be brave enough to go lower, 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 lower. Yes, inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. So, we notice what we struggle with. I can get kind of like laissez-faire by my vinyasa and just kind of like it's breezing through it, just kind of staying on the surface. But with the familiarity of the vinyasa, we actually have an opportunity to see if we can go a little bit deeper. Take another full inhale. Empty your breath all the way, and then float your feet in between your hands quietly. Inhale, fly your halfway lift. Exhale, release and bow down. Root down, and with your next inhale, roll up. And this time you're going to keep your arms up high. Next inhale, get even taller, and with your exhale, arch to your right hand side. Without getting shorter, you want to really feel that you're stretching both sides of your rib cage. Maybe lifting your chin just slightly away from your chest, arms squeezing your ears, and then inhale, come back up to center. Now get even taller with your next inhale and slide your ribs to your left as your hips slide to the right. So you want to shape yourself like a crescent moon. Oh, yeah. So feel, where are you contracting? You notice your like left armpit wants to shy away. Show off your left armpit. Isn't it glorious? And then inhale up to center, hook your thumbs, spread out your fingers like little baby wings, lift up tall, and then enjoy a baby back bend. Lots of babies going on here. And then inhale, stretch up tall. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk or float. Exhale, chaturanga. So bending your elbows as you jump lower. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. The effort is worth it. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bend your knee, let your hips spin open. Now, after you wildly brought your leg there, see if you can contain the wildness by letting your hips twist, but your shoulders are squared to the yoga mat. Starting to really be challenged in your breath. Make sure you keep breathing through your nose. Take another full inhale, and with your exhale, tap your left elbow with your right knee, and then bring your knee to your right elbow. And then inhale, stretch your right leg long. Exhale, step your right foot all the way forward to your right thumb, and spin your left heel to the ground and rise up, warrior one. Exhale, chaturanga. So often we start with Anjaneyasana. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. So starting with warrior one is a little bit more intense. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky, bend your knee, let your hips spin open. After you've done what you've been told, then notice what else you let go with it. So maybe your left shoulder rolled open, square your heart towards the chest, the mat. Take another full inhale, your kneel. Who's got a kneel? Your knee aiming at the ceiling. And then with your exhale, bring your left knee to touch your right elbow. And then bring it to your left elbow. Yeehaw! Inhale, stretch your leg long. Exhale, step your foot forward and spin your right heel down to the ground. Inhale, warrior one, feeling the effort of closing your hips here. Weight in both of your legs. And then exhale, sweet chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Feel your fingers spread out to help your shoulders move back. Exhale, downward facing dog. And find yourself coming home to, come home to your dog. You know, it's our best friend. So notice where, you can soften to allow the effort to be more effective. So suffering more with the effort than what's happening to you. Opening your upper arms towards the ceiling helps create space for your shoulders to relax. Take another fueling inhale, empty your breath all the way, and then walk or float your feet in between your hands. Hoopla. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release and bow down. And root down and roll up. Stretch up tall. With your arms raised, you're just going to lower your right arm. Inhale, get even taller. And with your exhale, bend to your right, letting your right arm stretch down your leg as you make this nice crescent shape in a different way. And then inhale, stretch up to the middle. Bring your left arm down. Get taller with your next inhale. And with your next exhale, arch to the left-hand side. And then inhale, straight up to center. Your version, take another little back bend. Maybe you go further back than you did before. Hips pushing forward. Uddiyana Bandha engaged. Mula Bandha engaged. Then inhale, stretch up high. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk or float. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. With your exhale, step your right foot to your right thumb and rise up, warrior one. Open up, warrior two. And then we're going to inhale and we're going to enjoy side. We're going to enjoy sky archer. So you're going to switch your legs. You're going to straighten your right leg. You're going to put a little bend into your left knee, and you're going to shoot your invisible bow and arrow up to the heavenly home that you came from. Beautiful. So you want to feel the effort, feel the joy. Now really like you're pulling back the string of your bow. Inhale here, and then exhale, sweet chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. With your exhale, step your left foot to your left thumb. Rise up, warrior one. Back heels down on the ground. Hips are squaring. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Big step. Now you're going to switch your legs. So you're going to straighten your left leg. You're going to bend your right knee a little bit. And then like you are a Sagittarius aiming your arrow. You add the Slayer Mudra to have the fierceness of Kali at your disposal. Take another full inhale and then windmill your hands either side of your foot and enjoy chaturanga, low chaturanga, like you're hovering over the ground. Yes, nearly. There you go. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then inhale, glide forward to plank. Just when we thought we were done, there was a little bit more. So step your feet together. Roll first to the outside edge of your right foot. Stretch your left arm up to the sky. Now feel your own body, your own alignment. And in your imagination, imagine your feet are pushing down to the ground. How are your hips lining up? Beautiful. And then with your exhale, chaturanga, inhale to plank. Oh, it's hard. It's okay to be hard. And then roll to the outside edge of your left foot, stretching your right arm to the sky. So you want to, feel like you're tucking your tail, just like you're standing upright. Your chin is coming towards your chest before you look up towards your right thumb. And then exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking this moment to pause in your downward facing dog. Coming home to your best friend. Take a full inhale, and with your exhale, empty your breath all the way, and then float your feet through your hands, coming onto your butts. Ta-da! And we're going to come, without losing our fire, we're going to come into our back bends. So lower your upper body, down to the lower body, no, down to the mat. Stretch your hands along your body, feet on the ground. You want to be able to touch the back of your heels with your knees bent. And then inhale, lift up into bridge. So many of our yoga postures, they have kind of like an open secret in the name. So this posture is called a bridge. You know what bridges do. You know, you can't have a bridge that's just like attached to one side. You know, if it's just attached in the middle, it's a seesaw. But if it's engaged and connected to both sides, then it becomes something that is possible. So feel like your chest is moving towards your face, connecting to this upper world of our senses, what we understand, what we are aware of, what impressions we notice. And then imagine your knees reaching towards your toes, connecting to the whole lower realm of our body that we don't quite understand, that we can't always know. Like we have no idea when our liver is really bad. Okay, maybe we have a little bit of an idea, but we don't really feel when our spleen is extracting that golden essence from the living food that we eat. We have no idea about so many things, like, you know, the nature of someone's heart or the stories that they're telling themselves. Now we're going for a grand finale this morning. So you either stay here for about 5 to 7 more breaths, or you can lift up into full wheel. So where bridge connects two disparate points, a wheel actually is a continual cycle of connection. So you actually can move much greater distances with a wheel than with a bridge. Feel your elbows squeezing together. Feel your effort lifting you, lightening you. For 2 more full, unhurried breaths, and then find your way back to your mat. Let your knees drop together, let your feet slide out. Take one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Again, we are so, unaware of our power, our belly, our all of the workings that happen inside of our body. And then we have our hand on our heart, which we're much more aware of. Our feelings, maybe not always where our heart wants to go. That might take some effort. But we notice we're constantly bridging all the way through our day, whether it's between you and me, you and another, or if you're trying to bridge the feelings that you have towards who you want to be, or trying to bridge insights you had in the morning to goals you have or insights you get in the day. Now, you're going to braid your right knee over your left knee. And then just let your knees drop to your left and your gaze move to your right. You want to make sure your knees are lined up, or at least your top knee is lined up with your top hip, not below it. With your next exhale, really engage your Uddiyana Bandha and pull your abdominals to your spine, and notice that that action actually helps the twist. With your next inhale, lift up to center. Unwind your legs. Take your left knee over your right knee. And then bring your knees all the way to the right. You can slide your hips to the left. Your gaze is either going straight up at the ceiling or over to your left. And then when you feel like you've come into balance, or maybe before that, come back to center, stretch your legs long, and set up for Shavasana. You know, we can really think of like if we're doing like a really young, hardcore workout practice, like, yes, we're working maybe more on our muscles. But in these morning practices, especially, we're really working on kind of the liberation of like being yourself, but not stuck in yourself. We're working on the practice of union, bringing together maybe our nighttime selves with our daytime selves, or who we are with who we want to be. So now in Shavasana, allow your body to rest. Keep your attention here in the room that you find yourself in. Notice the sensations in your body as your practice takes root to help you be more you for the rest of the day. Eyes closed and trusting, palms open to receive, body relaxed. With your next inhale, invite your breath to the edges of your body. And already just think of something that you are grateful for. Letting that temper you for the rest of your day. With your inhale, stretch your arms above your head. Exhale, curl into a ball. If it feels good for you, roll onto your side. And then we're going to meet up in a seated position. Allow your hands to come to heart center. Close your eyes and just for a moment, remember who or what you dedicated your practice to. Take a moment to acknowledge who has been alive in this past hour for you, who's been present. And let's close our class with one final Om. Empty your breath. Take a deep inhale. Ah. Bring your prayer hands to your third eye. Invite the divine light. And as we bow forward, together we say, Namaste, y'all. And so much love. Make some noise. Thank you. Thank you. And have a fabulous day. Yeah.